was 9/11, and I stood with people as they watched their offices fall, knowing that their friends and coworkers, were dead. And that's how the day started. September 11th, every year, it's a little bit different, but I always know that I'm going to feel somber in one way or another. So I thought this time we just record it and talk about it a little bit. Were you there? I wasn't, but I was in San Francisco and I was on the phone with people in New York as it was happening, and then I stood shoulder to shoulder when we were evacuated with about 500 people, many of which were from New York, and we watched the towers fall together. They saw their offices fall. So here's what happened. I was working in San Francisco for a brokerage house, and we had a big conference. The morning started on the trading desk early. So maybe we started, I think, that day at 4 a.m. So as the morning rolled on, I was on the phone with people when the first plane hit. I was speaking to New York. We all thought it was just a small plane. The second one hit, we knew there was a problem. And our firm had offices in all the major cities, LA, New York, Chicago, San Francisco. And we were evacuated, in our case, to go to the hotel, the Ritz-Carlton, where our guests were staying. The conference rooms they slid the walls open and broadcast onto the large wall in the distance. So at, 10 foot, 12 foot tall, we all watched as the towers burned and then fell. And I stood with people as they watched their offices fall, knowing that their friends and coworkers, were dead. And that's how the day started. Never forget. That's for sure. Never forget it. So as the morning went on, kind of the gravity of what had happened starts to set in. And let me give you the scene. So there are, as I said, hundreds of us together, and by now phones have stopped working. Cell phones, either they were, shut down if you were trying to call east, or just congested and crowded. So it was tough to get phone calls out, particularly to the East Coast. People realized they couldn't fly home. Started thinking about, what are we going to do? Are we going to drive? Some people did. The uncertainty and the gravity and the feeling of being attacked on our own homeland. Now, I know it was surprising to everybody to wake up and turn on the TV. But if you were from New York or connected to New York, it was a whole different level. In my case, my significant other, she lived in Midtown Manhattan and worked in the same industry. Couldn't reach her anymore. We really had no idea what was going on. It was scary. And in San Francisco, we had fear, those of us that lived over the Golden Gate Bridge into Marin, can we go home? Are they going to blow up the bridge? Are they going to send a boat into the marina and blow things up? We really didn't know what was going on. There was actually no idea. And the uncertainty was just, it was scary. All at once, things came into perspective. I remember first thing in the morning, I called my family. I called my mom in Los Angeles, and I woke her up and said, "Do you know what's going on?" And she, of course, didn't. I said, "Turn on the television." That's it. Strange time. But it did bring the country together for the wrong reasons, but it's the last time I can remember the country really coming together. Yeah. It's the last time. Every year at 9/11, I spend the day calling people that I was connected to then, and many I haven't talked to, say, in a year or maybe longer. But try to call and it at least say hello. So I did some of that today, and it's hard to explain, but there's a strange connection. I also try to go to the city of Beverly Hills has a memorial, and if you've ever driven by or when you come to town, if you come to town, go to the main fire station. and in front you'll see a twisted piece of metal. You don't realize it's part of a memorial, but there's a twisted piece of metal that is from the towers. Man, 24 years ago. It's hard to believe. It's really, really hard to believe that it was 24 years ago. I have so many stories.